This week's episode is a very special International Women's Day episode.
We recorded this live from VHS in Wooloongabba on Friday, March 8th, where we interviewed an array of amazing women.
A big thank you to everyone who made this episode possible. To all of our guests and listeners, thank you for all your support. We couldn't do it without you.
We absolutely love and adore you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm talking about, you're talking about, we're talking about just gay stuff.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are Just Gay Stuff podcast. My name is Jess.
And I'm Lauren.
And we are coming at you straight from VHS here in Wooloongabba. We're
Yes.
on the beautiful Brisbane Minjin, and I'm going to do a quick acknowledgement to country to say thank you.
Pay our respects.
Yeah, thank you for having us on this beautiful land. To the Turrbal and Yagara people, we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Thank you so much for having us here. It is a beautiful night outside. It was raining. It's no longer
It's
raining.
cleared up, thank goodness for that. I don't think that matters anyways.
And we're here celebrating a very special day, aren't we?
It is. It's a very special day for me for multiple reasons.
So tell us why it's special.
So first of all, it's not only my sister's birthday, so happy birthday to her, but it's also International Women's Day. So we're here to
Women's Day.
celebrate all amazing women.
Amazing women everywhere. There's
Everywhere.
amazing women everywhere. You guys got to get amongst it.
Yeah.
And Lauren's actually won an International Women's Day award before.
Yeah, I don't like to brag, but like, humble brag.
Humble brag. What was it for? Tell everyone what was it for.
I actually won International Women's Day 2018 for business and leadership.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's cool.
I know we haven't actually discussed that.
I didn't know that you were a businesswoman or a leader.
Oh, really?
So we're going to really touch on some topics tonight about why is International Women's Day so important to not just us, but women in general, and especially this year, the theme of International Women's Day is inclusivity.
Yeah.
And you know, everyone knows that we're a LGBTQ plus podcast, so that's insanely important for us and women in general, because we're all about equality, we're all about spreading love, we're all about spreading
Yeah.
respect. So we're going to talk to a few people now.
We
I'm going
are.
to introduce the beautiful Dr.
Dr.
Jodie.
Jodie.
So
Woohoo!
everybody-
Everybody say hello to Dr. Jodie.
Hi.
I'm going to give you the guest mic.
Yeah, get the guest mic.
Okay.
Special guest mic.
So would you like to introduce yourself and what you do for a living?
Hi, my name is Dr. Jodie Taylor. I'm an academic, and so my background is in musicology. I'm an educator at university level, and I'm a queer historian as well.
Queer
Wow.
historian. Amazing.
I don't think I've ever met a queer historian before.
I write about the music scene, the queer music scene from Brisbane and all over Australia and internationally.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
Oh, God.
So tell us, why is International Women's Day so important to you specifically?
I think it's a really good time to actually remember that the women's movement is a really important kind of part
Yeah.
in civil rights fight, you know, early on, and you know that we used to share a lot of solidarity with kind of queer liberation in the early days, and I think that women is an expanding category,
Yeah.
and so it's really important to be able to kind of use these days as opportunities to reflect on all of the things that our wonderful kind of, you know, second wave sisters did for us, but also open that category up to include cis women, trans women,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and a lot of other people from other minorities, and also to looking cross-culturally as well.
Yeah.
You know, we think of women as a universalising category, but like women, you know, of colour have a very different experience to white women often, and you know, we need to be able to kind of, I guess, bring all of those experiences to the forefront and celebrate them, and
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
I really love that you just said including all women, as women is an expanding category.
Yeah.
I think that was such a beautiful thing.
Especially in like the queer community.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to acknowledge everybody, especially expanding these
and,
days.
and it's not just, I think, too, because, you know, we think about the fact that there are a lot of people identifying as gender diverse or, you know, like, you know, gender or non-binary now,
Yeah.
and I think where do they fit in? And I think there's a space for them in the women's,
Of
you know,
course.
movement
Absolutely.
too, because I don't necessarily see the straight, white, cis kind of gay male category expanding very much, and I kind of go, well, if it's left up to us, that's fine. I'm happy.
We'll take everyone in.
happy to pave the way.
Absolutely, because I think women and non-binary people kind of, to me, both occupy this space about celebrating genders that have been oppressed.
Yeah,
That's
I
really
think that's so
important.
important.
Yeah, because I mean that's what women often I think about is what unifies us with that experience of oppression or that experience of, you know, like liminality of being pushed kind of to the margins.
Yeah.
And yes, I know that in queer communities, like, you know, things like International AIDS Day kind of become what queer people kind of focus on, and they forget the important role that lesbians play in that, right? And the fact that this is an opportunity for us to celebrate lesbian women, queer women, bi women, exactly.
What do you say to people that think that having just one day to celebrate it, or 1 week or 1 month, it's pretty dumb to only celebrate it at one time?
I mean, I would say today is not necessarily, I mean, yes, celebrating it, but it's a day to reflect and think about what it is as a political category and, like, you know, and what it is that we as women can do, reconnect and utilise our privilege. Like me as a, you know, cis white woman, like I have a certain amount of privilege that I feel like, you know, there are other women in need of my support, and like today's a good day to actually kind of ask yourself what it means to be a woman as a political woman. You know,
I think we also forget at times how much privilege people in our group do have versus others. And if we can wrap our arms around each other and really embrace those in need or that need a bit more help getting to the equality. Then,
And rather than celebrating the privilege, it's about kind of looking and reflecting at who's not here. And you know, who do we need to invite? Who do we need to reach out to? And invite
sort of like include.
Because people, like, we're all inclusive, that's great, but if people don't have an invitation, or if somebody hasn't connected with them, they're not likely to kind of put themselves forward if they're already marginalised. You know, and it's a good time to think about, especially in the queer community, a lot of our social things connect in at like 18 plus, right? Because it's all situated around club nights and things. And so it's like younger women, how do we connect with younger women?
I was going to say, it makes it hard for like the younger people that are maybe struggling to come out or struggling to be a part of the community. They don't quite fit, whether they feel like they fit in the community or in the straight community.
And we all know how cliquey those things can be. And nights like this, I think it's amazing, you know, to see what Angel's doing to kind of, you know, women, children, right? You know, it's like often don't get to come out and to participate in these kinds of social spaces. And so having something that includes children is also really important for International Women's Day.
The other myth, I guess, that we come up against is that every time we have a day that celebrates a certain part of the community, everyone else is suddenly not involved. It's like we come up against this when it comes to like Pride Month. Oh, well then where is the straight pride and where is all that?
Every day. Don't get us all started on this.
We're going to do a whole episode on straight privilege. But I ask this because I feel like we can't celebrate these days without the help of people outside of this community. We can't celebrate International Women's Day without the help of men creating that equality with us. It's not about creating a bigger gap. It's about bringing that gap closer together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also too remembering that we often face oppression, not just by being women, but being feminine, right? And so I know, like, I'm here with a friend of mine who's a cisgendered but transvestite male, and like, his experience, I guess, recently he's been so, you know, kind of shocked about the way that he's perceived in public because it's like, you know, the feminization of somebody. And it's like what people fear socially is often the feminine, not necessarily the woman part of it. Because they see the feminine as frivolous or as somehow, you know, I don't know, an accessory or something. And they forget that being a femme or an empowered kind of femme woman is also a political thing to occupy. It's just as important as being any other kind of woman, I think. And that it's, we can wear makeup and heels and still be political and taken seriously.
I think we also forget that in the 70s, so many men wore makeup and heels. And all of a sudden, the world has a problem with it. Why?
I mean, Australian culture was built around that, right? We've like Diggers to Drag Queens is a great book on, you know, the kind of history of Australian masculinity that like get a man in a frock. It's like they love doing that, right?
Awesome. Oh,
that's really cool. Thank you so much for jumping on and having a quick chat with you.
Dr. Jodie, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Jodie. That was incredible.
Absolutely. And see, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring this gap closer together, not create a bigger gap. And I think that what people need to understand when we do celebrate days like this, it's not just about LGBT. This is about women. This is about even disability. I have friends with disabilities. There's Disability Awareness Month. Those months when we celebrate something doesn't mean we're excluding everybody else. We're just saying, hey, shine a spotlight on this particular area of society for 2 seconds, and maybe you can understand them a little bit more.
Just get to know them. We're all human after all.
We don't need to have a fear around shining a spotlight on a particular group in society. We need to embrace that and learn if we have the opportunity to learn.
Exactly right.
Anyway, we have another guest.
We do.
We have another guest. This is our friend Jan.
This is our wonderful friend Jan. Come on down, Jan.
Come on up. Come
on
on
down. Whichever one
This
you
is
decide.
our friend Jan. Introduce yourself, Jan.
I'm Jan, and I identify as she, her.
Yep.
So I'm fairly straight
You're
in life.
Very straight.
But she doesn't know. So, Jan, tell us why International Women's Day is so important to you.
To me, International Women's Day is a celebration of the achievement of women throughout the world. Not only women currently, but women from history who had
That's
a
true.
lot harder road than we have now to get to where they want to be.
And yet we still have so far to go, right?
Absolutely. Literally, you took the words out of my mouth.
We have massive way to go. We have what is commonly called the good old glass ceiling and the boys' club that we've got to break up to let women be recognised to be equal in those professions.
Yep.
Yeah.
And let's be realistic, we have men who do recognise that
Yep.
and try and help women who they realise would probably do a better job than they do in that profession.
Yeah.
And so it is the equality of women.
Yeah.
And we need to recognise those women that are still downtrodden in the world.
Because there's still quite a pay gap, isn't there?
There's a massive pay gap.
Have you ever been affected by the pay gap?
No, I work for the
She's
government.
like, thank goodness.
So no, we're not. But people in industry, factory workers, etc., have a pay gap.
Yeah.
And we have women that aren't paid anything in the world.
Yeah.
That just do things because it's a man's world in their country.
Yeah.
And they have to do it.
That's very true.
It's funny because it's still a hard thing when I look at Australia as a very progressive country, but then depending on what we're talking about at the time is how many steps forward we are and how many steps back we are. We can be 3 steps forward
And like 2 steps
of
back.
some of the countries in the Middle East and Africa.
Of course.
But then when it comes to our own society, I look on Facebook and I see one post that has like a gay pride flag or a women's equality, and suddenly there are people sounding off in the comments with some very hateful things.
Very hateful things.
Absolutely. And you're always going to get those naysayers. You're always going to get those horrible people. But I'm not sure that they're horrible or whether they just want to be noticed on Facebook.
So
by
trolls.
Trolling.
Yes, by saying something horrible and nasty.
Because how do we combat it? How do we combat this? Is it just, where Lauren and I come from in doing this podcast, we're trying to educate those
people,
inside the community, surrounding the community. We're trying our best. But, there's always still going to be steps to take. So what do you think in terms of International Women's Day and being recognised, what can we do?
That is a hard thing to really say. As you say, education's a great thing.
Yeah.
But you are always going to get people, women and men, that just have their narrow point of view, and you are never going to change those people, unfortunately. They are always going to be a narrow view person. They can't see outside the box. They can't accept anything that, let's say, their parents didn't accept. So we need to be teaching our children.
I think that's so important.
There is a wider gap, and think outside the box. Just because someone dresses differently, just because someone's walking around holding a hand with a male or a female, that doesn't mean they don't reserve.
Or someone non-binary.
That's right.
Yeah, or gender fluid.
or
trans.
Or pan or trans or whatever.
Anybody. As long as you're 2 consenting adults.
Yes.
Yeah.
The rest of the
what does
world-
it matter to the rest of the world?
The rest of the world
No,
shouldn't have an issue.
But respect them.
Yeah, respect. Amen.
I actually have 2 gentlemen that travel on the train with me of morning. Yes, they are a couple. They obviously go separate ways to their work, and every morning he gives his partner a cuddle and a kiss. And I walk by and think that is so beautiful.
The beautiful
just so
thing about
wholesome.
that is that they feel comfortable enough to be able to do that.
Exactly.
And so that's one of those parts of society where I go, wow, we are getting there.
We're getting there.
We've
We're
got
trying
a long
to push
way
forward.
to go, but we're getting there.
We are. And I just think it's the most beautiful, loving relationship that those 2 people have.
Yeah.
And we have so many people who aren't in loving relationships as well that just suffer through life.
Yeah.
I was saying this to a friend the other day, you know, I think
I think you said that to me, actually.
my uncle was gay, and I didn't find out until after he passed away. Our whole family didn't find out until after he passed away. I may have already said this on the podcast before,
Yeah.
so apologies if you guys have heard this story before.
Yeah.
But I often think about all the people who couldn't be themselves because of certain things happening in that generation, and they were forced to be miserable or forced to not feel loved or forced to be stuck in marriages they hated, or, you know, it comes down to, why can't we just love who we love and be happy and be equal to everybody?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We not only had people middle class, lower class, upper class, but we also had our own idols that, like Rock Hudson,
Yeah.
that couldn't come out of the closet because people would have judged him,
Yeah.
you know, and that's just not right.
No.
You shouldn't judge people for what they are.
I think the biggest thing that I sort of found before was when you said, you know, it's about teaching and about respect, and I guess that's something that we are constantly trying to do. And I think it's great that we're in this space right now where a lot of like wonderful women or non-binary person or however
Gender fluid,
however they
queer.
identify queer, are all here talking about the same thing, talking about that education and respect. Respect was the number one thing we've said on this podcast the whole time.
One amazing thing about being in this venue right now is that we can walk in here and know that no one is judging us.
Yeah, no one.
We are all equal to the people next to us, and if we don't feel equal, it's because we're doing that silly thing that we do where we compare ourselves to everyone else.
Yeah.
But we're in a really safe space right now, so thank you so much
Thank you so
for
much.
joining us.
Thank you for being on.
And having your say on the podcast. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thank you, Jen.
Excellent.
That was incredible.
Come on up.
We've got another special guest right now.
Do you mind speaking on the pod?
Come on then.
You got it. You got it. So
All right,
introduce
just
yourself.
introduce yourself.
My name's Leanne. Are we filming? Oh, we're filming too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's no good. All right. So it's really a vlog.
Oh, we're podcasting live.
Oh, live right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, joy and bliss,
Is
eh?
that okay with you?
Okie dokie.
Okay.
So my name's Leanne, or Aunty Leanne, and I'm a Mingjambul woman from the Bundjalung Nation, down just over the border. And for me, they said, what does IWD mean to you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm here to say I've thought for my whole life that it stood for Indigenous Women's Day, and so that's what it means to me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And every single thing that I do in life is to heal the woman's spirit, which will heal the child, and which
Yeah.
will grow better men.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks to be us women, but this is where they start, and if we are healed in our spirit, well, and they'll be healed in theirs, and that to me is the most important thing.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
so beautiful.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's like spreading love, education,
Oh,
respect.
love. It's not new agey bullshit. It's not
Yeah.
love and light, because that sucks balls. Sorry, people who are watching.
No,
We
it's all
are
good.
we are 100% raw and honest
Okay,
on this
good.
pod.
Because that does suck balls. It's not about the love and light and all that sort of jazz, because shit happens.
Yeah.
And people get kicked in the guts, and women have to be there for women. We can't go through this, next 5 years even, where women don't support women.
Yeah.
There has to be a point in time where all the young women sit down with old women and just go, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we swear too.
Yeah.
We swore before you born,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
You paved the way with the swearing.
We did. Well, I know I did. And, when we come into our own space and we really understand who we are, then we can create spaces. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm born a healer, and I know my job being here on the planet, and I created with my ancestors a space called Women's Shed, and that space is the space where women, you identify as a woman, you come there, there's no judgment on where you've come from, who you are, if you swear, if, your religion doesn't matter, your colour, nothing matters. You come in that door, you're a woman, and you're welcome.
That's so beautiful.
And it's just the most amazing thing, because it's what I'm told, it's the only space of its kind that all of these women who come have found. And it's not it's for all abilities. So we have women who don't have, it's called something, they don't have voice, and they are different abilities. And we don't say disabilities, we say different abilities.
Different abilities.
That's very important
I like
too.
that.
Yeah.
It's very important. And what they come, and their carers who bring them are just like, we don't even know what happens when they come here, because they don't ever want to sit still for 5 minutes anywhere else, and they'll stay there for 4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
And we'll paint and we'll talk, and include them in conversations. Even though they're non-verbal, it doesn't mean that they've got no brain or that they can't understand a conversation or they can't respond to a conversation. And we dance and we do whatever the fuck we want, really, basically.
Do you think it's about you're obviously providing a space of acceptance and equality? Because
Equality is a really weird word. It's a weird word. I don't know if equality. I think it's acceptance. I think it's without judgment. You know, we are not born equal.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's
we are
true.
not born equal. We are not born equal. So, a place of equality, we'd have to all be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no equal. But there's equity in the space. Get to be who you are. No one expects you to be anybody other than yourself, and you can grow. In me, I've watched, it's only been operational for 3 years, and I've watched so many women grow into being amazing, far, far beyond where they thought that they would be in life. And we haven't done anything really except for sit there and, create a space where it's absolutely 100% safe to be who you are.
I think that's what it is. It's so beautiful to have that safe space.
And generations, so you can bring all your kids up until boys hit about 13. Then they don't want to hang out with old bitches anyway. But then from that space, you have that generational input again for the little ones all the way up. So you've got that thing that's missing from society.
Safe space.
Your safe space, but also that generational, sitting with, women of all different age groups in all different spaces, and for those children to grow in through that, they're going to grow up, better adjusted.
Being more open, do you think?
More open, but more reliant on themselves, understanding that they can do it. They've seen themselves grow up with these other women who are a lot older than them. But that growing up with your grandma thing, that's gone out of society now, and that's bullshit. That you can't. My grandma, she taught me how to make jam, cook bread, grow fruit, grow vegetables from having an outhouse dunny. And people go, that's disgusting. It's like, well, what do you think fertiliser is? It's shit. Yeah. Come on now, people. And they're like, oh, that's gross. And so I have a suburban house and I grow all my own indigenous medicines, plants and fruit trees, and I have lots of bloody raised garden beds because I don't like to bend down to dig. Yeah. And that's what it's about. And we need to teach your generation and generations younger than you to, come and hang out with old bitches because we know shit.
Yeah.
Yep. Hang out with old bitches.
Hang out with old bitches. You heard it here first.
That's how you learn.
Do.
That's how you grow.
We're adding that to the t-shirt pile. I think hang out with old bitches. Only if you're okay with that.
We'll put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I'll put it on my own t-shirt.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Cool.
One thing I want to say that I thought was amazing that you said is you know your place on this earth and you know what you're here to do. Yeah. And I think that's such an important thing and such a blessed thing for you to be able to say, because so many people walk around on this earth and don't know their purpose.
Yeah.
Because they're not listening. Yeah. They're looking out instead of in. Yeah. And if you look in, you'll be told. You'll kick yourself up the arse and say, knock off. You just won't put yourself in a position where you're not doing the best thing for yourself. But if you're listening outwardly for proof of, life that you're great and that you're awesome, all that approval stuff, you'll get shit or nothing.
Yeah.
You'll get nothing.
Yeah.
You will get absolutely zero because no one gives a fuck, and nor should they have to.
Yeah.
If you don't care about yourself, who else should? No one.
Yeah.
No one.
That's very true.
Growing girls into women who stand there, and when they're presented with an option of a partner, and the partner is being, a dickhead, whether it's man, woman, or whatever. Yeah. That right there is like, fuck you, two to the valley, I'm on my bike. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay.
Yeah.
You never have to be anywhere or do anything that you don't want to do, ever.
Yep.
Ever. You don't even have to stay at a shit job.
Yeah.
You don't.
100% agree.
You don't. You can just go, thanks for coming, this is what I've learned, and
Yeah. I can attest to that because I did that essentially.
Yeah, I think none of us have to stay in a space where we feel disrespected. And I think the more that we learn that and the more that we can then create opportunities for ourselves in places where we do feel respected, we're going to get a lot more out of life. Yeah.
And do you think, though, that if we that respect has to come from ourselves?
Yeah.
So if we're...
Knowing your worth.
Yeah, knowing your worth. And so you won't stay, if you really know your worth. I'm self-employed, but I've just made myself redundant in my own job because I'm...
Hope you got a good payout.
Nah, bitch didn't pay at all. But for me, it was very important to not stay in that space.
Yeah.
And so, I will be, without pay for however it takes for me to find that next thing that is fulfilling, that is worth me.
Yeah.
And, you need to make $1, you need to pay the rent, yeah. But hey, ladies, start a business.
Yeah.
Get a side hustle.
Yeah.
Everybody can do something.
This is our side hustle.
I was going to say, this is it.
That's the whole thing. We sit in a world that is male-dominated, and that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it really isn't. We've just let them.
We let them dominate us.
To the side because they've got bigger muscles. Fuck off, you don't. I will not sit and be part of a society that says, ladies, sit down and be quiet.
Yeah.
No, you get the middle bird and then you'll get the on your trolley. Off you go. Because there's more. There's so much more. Women rule the world, and they did at one point.
Yeah.
We all come from matriarchal societies. There's no patriarchal societies.
Yeah.
The men would just stand there and get shot at and kill people, things, and bring home food, which is great. Procreate and all that jazz. But as we've evolved now, we haven't. We've de-evolved.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit. We don't like that. I don't like that. No. Women, stand up. Be counted.
Yeah.
Let your girls be counted.
Yeah.
We've taken a back step to everything, in society where women were seen as the beautiful, amazing creatures, whether it would be in a mother or a teacher or a girl on the street, hawking a fork. It doesn't matter. That was her job.
Yeah.
And shut up.
Yeah. Girls, get your armies. Let's go.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh,
That's awesome. Thank you so much for
Aunty
talking with
Leanne.
us.
Hey.
Thank you.
Preach the word.
Woo! Thank you.
I love
Wow.
that. That was so incredible.
Wow.
So amazing.
So many amazing guests. Guys, I hope you're tuning in.
Yeah,
this has
we
been
hope so.
awesome so far.
we have
We
another
have some
guest
other guests. We have another
approaching.
guest. Awesome.
Come on up.
This is your microphone.
Yeah, sure.
Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thanks, girls, for having me.
Thank you for coming
Thank you for
on.
coming on.
My name is Indira. I am a Mexican girl. I came here to Australia in 2018 as a PhD student.
Wow.
PhD student.
Yeah,
Wow.
here at
Nice.
the University of Queensland.
Excellent.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And well, I wanted to share with you how we celebrate the International Women's Day in Mexico.
Awesome.
Yes,
Yes,
please,
But
please.
not only in Mexico, in the whole Latin America.
Oh, wow.
It's Mexico, Central America, and South America.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge celebration in Mexico. I believe since 2018 was more famous and a lot of women go on the streets and protest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot of women in the main cities of Mexico City, Guadalajara, Monterrey, and other cities. A lot of women go on the streets and try to protest against violence, to pursue more women's rights, right?
Yep.
And at the workplace and everything.
Yeah.
So it is beautiful. You can see the women protest, but also you can see some performing, like dancing, painting, like beautiful paintings here. Right. Mothers take their children on the protest as well, and that is like beautiful because you can see how young generations are absorbing like the reason of the protest, the rights, the struggle. And I think it is beautiful. Maybe because I'm from there. But for me, it's beautiful. In last year, after the 8th of March, there is one day without women. So women, not all the women, but some women don't attend to work. Just to show how will be the life without women.
Oh, wow. That's very so important.
Yeah, exactly. And they also try to be like invisible at home and in the family in order to show how important women are for the society, for the family, for the workplace. And still we have some people that don't support the International Women's Day. And it's
unfortunately
understandable. I don't know, some people are still learning why we're fighting, or they don't understand the struggle. Or maybe older generations in Mexico, they think, oh, these struggles are normal for women, so why you complain? But from my perspective, we have to treat them, the old generation, with love and empathy, because they passed or they struggle even more than us, right? They try to just avoid the change.
It's the evolving world, right? It's the same with technology. Some people don't want to accept new technology and then they get left behind. So in order to not leave anyone behind, we have to spread
show them
that love and empathy.
Definitely. I totally agree with that. And I see like some women get a little bit more frustrated, like, hey, why don't you understand my movement? Why don't you understand my struggles? And that is valid as well, right? Yeah, it's valid. I mean, we are just struggling as a society just to understand each other. But I'm really happy that since 2019 in Mexico and Latin America, it is a huge movement. And it is 8th of March just in the morning in Mexico.
Oh, really?
Right now.
Right now.
So maybe in a few hours, we are going to see like the big protest on the street with songs and singing and arts on the street. So
that's so beautiful.
I wish we did that here. I wish we did that here.
A massive pride for International Women's Day.
The fact that Angel has put all this together is amazing. This is such a nice, safe space for everyone to be in tonight.
Incredible.
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate I came here, and I'm really glad I met such a beautiful woman here, here. And thanks guys for doing such a great work in this podcast.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much.
you for joining us and telling your story about Mexico and Latin America. Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a lovely night and enjoy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have another guest?
I think there might be a few.
we have another guest.
Not sure.
I think we have our friend Laura. We asked her the question.
We did,
2 days ago.
And then I can see a few other people.
We asked Laura the question 2 days ago. Why does International Women's Day, why is it important to you? And I said to her this afternoon,
how long did it take?
Did you think on it? She goes, I think I need a couple of hours. I said, mate, you've had 2 days.
I was going to say, how long did it take for her to get?
Yeah, 2 days.
2 days.
Oh, I think she did it in 5 minutes. Are
she
you
did.
ready? Come on up,
She was still
Laura.
thinking about it before. Woo!
This
Hello,
is Laura.
This is our friend Laura.
Hi, everyone.
So tell us, why is International Women's Day so important to you?
Because it's about women supporting other women and highlighting achievements that may go under the radar any other time of the year.
Who's your favourite woman in history?
You can't put her on the spot
I'm
like
putting
that.
her on the spot.
That'd be you guys, wouldn't it?
Did you pay her to say that?
Paid advertisement.
shit.
I was like, you paid her to say that.
But it is important, right? When we say who's your favorite woman in history, we can't pick one.
No,
there are so
I
many.
can't.
There's so many important women in history, and that's why we're here talking about all of this tonight. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
And I was reading about some lady today that in the 1950s invented the push pedal for the bin.
See?
Oh, really?
A psychologist, an engineer. She had 12 children. Her husband.
See, she did all of that
Yeah,
with
she did
12
all of
kids.
it. Wow.
Her husband dropped dead when her youngest was like 2 or something.
Wow. See how strong we are
I was
as
going to
women.
say, women truly are superstars.
I was watching Kath and Kim this afternoon, and there's
Standard.
the episode where they go to Bunnings and they get a rainwater tank, and the rainwater tank was invented by a woman. And Kath goes, "See, we're not all stupid." So, you know, it's true, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on the podcast. I do see that there's another guest over there with a consent form.
Ah.
Can you see the little consent form
Yeah.
over there?
Do we have another guest willing to come up to the podcast?
I think we do.
Hi, my name's Elle.
Hello.
And I am here. I use they, she pronouns and wear many different hats.
Excellent.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so what do you do?
I am a health worker. I work in sexual health, particularly in the HIV sector, so mostly LGBTI health.
Yeah, wow.
I do some community radio work, and I work as a sex worker, particularly for people with disability through the NDIS.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I am a gardener, and I love to cook, and I am also a carer for some family members as well.
Awesome.
That's incredible.
And so why is International Women's Day so important?
So I think of it actually as International Working Women's Day, and I think
Ooh,
that
I like that.
Yeah, well, that's the history of the day, right? It's a unionist holiday. It is based in an understanding of women's oppression being linked inextricably from class oppression. And I think that when we strip it of its class and unionist origins, we are allowing the day to be sort of liberalised in a way that I think can be really appealing to more like corporate environments and that kind of thing, but isn't as much about struggle and liberation. And it's about the labour of women. It's about the unpaid labour of women.
Yes.
And
That's important.
we're never going to have women's liberation under capitalism. So for me, liberating women and women's struggle requires us to grow and facilitate a class consciousness to eventually build a world without capitalism.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never really thought of it that way. Like,
No, neither.
Obviously, I read a bunch of facts today about, International Women's Day, just to give a bit of the background. But yeah, I've never really thought of it in that respect. And it's not even just, I guess, when we talk about the working woman in terms of there's a pay gap and there's that inequality, but it's also like the acknowledgement of knowledge and what a woman like brings to something like a family, or it's just acknowledging those kind of qualities and attributes as well. And so many people that identify as women don't get that, especially when we talked to Dr. Jodie before about how we as women are like an expanding gender, and so many feel that inequality from that as well because they're not recognised. So I've never really thought about it in the way that you spoke, and then that's all just popped into my head. So
Yeah, women's struggle is not able to be separated from any other axis of oppression, right? Because there's so many different kinds of women, and ultimately we want liberation for all people. So we need to do that together.
I love that.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you so
you.
much for coming on the pod.
Thanks. Well, is that the end?
I think that might be the end. I guess. Angel's
Angel's
coming.
here.
Angel's
Angel's here.
ready. Oh, sorry,
Oh, well,
Captain
you got to
Rockhard.
introduce yourself as that. Here we go.
Here we go.
Arr. How you doing?
We
We're
are
good.
fabulous.
Is this on?
It is.
Yes, it is.
G'day, how you going? I'm Captain Rockhard. I'm one of Australia's first drag kings.
Drag
Hello.
kings.
What's a drag king, everybody says?
Well, it's
Yeah.
the opposite to a drag queen.
But because the queer scene's dominated by guys,
Yeah, we were talking about that before, about how even in a marginalised society we have segregation.
yep, and yeah, we've been fighting for equal rights, and yet it's a male-dominated industry.
And what do you think it is now?
Or with the whole alphabet thing that's evolving,
Yeah.
it's become extremely complex. And since the same-sex marriage bill's gone through, the gay and lesbian community's become pretty complacent. So, like, gay and lesbian stuff actually isn't on the table at all at the moment.
Like we were fighting for that one thing and now we've got it, we're like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can
Yeah.
step back now.
Yeah, yeah,
When it's really a continuous fight all along.
Yeah, complacency. And where's the women's rights within all of that?
Yeah.
You know?
Very important. Yeah. But you put this event together
You
tonight.
did. It's incredible.
With the help
With the
of
help of-
yous too.
of us.
Thank you very much.
and other people too. Aunty Leanne, she runs the women's group.
Yes, however, after I had that yarn with you two and you initiating the event, thank you so much.
No, well,
We
thank
wanted
you for
to say a
inviting
very,
us.
very special thank you for having us here at this
Yeah.
event and for inviting us along.
Oh, you're amazing.
No,
No,
you're
you are
amazing.
amazing.
You're amazing.
Stop
You're
it.
simply amazing.
We're gonna sign off. Do you know our sign off?
Yeah, do you know our sign off?
What is that?
So we say stay gay and you go motherfuckers.
I don't even swear.
Oh, I think that's a lie.
Hey, stay gay, motherfucker.
Thank you guys
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much for
joining
having us.
But can I ask you one more question before you go?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why are pirates pirates?
Why?
Because they are.
Arr.
We're gonna sign off from this Barbie box. It's
yeah.
been an amazing
It's
time.
been awesome.
Thank you so much.
I'm talking about, you're talking about, we're talking about just gay stuff.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Just Gay Stuff. Make sure to follow us at Just Gay Stuff Podcast on all your socials and write to us with your stories at justgaystuffpodcast@gmail.com.